The progress for today will be going over work that I've been doing over the course of in between now and the previous video I had done. I'd say in terms of work, the Death Run game mode is looking more and more complete as we go along. I do apologize for any stutteriness in the video if that is the case, but as of now, I would say that the game mode for Death Run has been completed to the way that I feel is good for the project. If I were to load up the game, we can see, as always, if we just go and let's say select 4 players, give them their skin colors, and assign death versus runners. And as you can see, we have a simple draft of a UI. Now, what I want this UI to do is I want it to adjust itself to change color based on team modes, or move this UI element to make it so you can separate death from the runners, and I'm still in the process of thinking about how to do that aspect. However, if we were to, for example, run across, you will be able to note that now when the players die, they will ragdoll and then teleport back to their spot, which is a checkpoint. There's a collision at the end of most traps that assigns a vector variable to the player so it knows where it can teleport once it dies. And if I were to showcase my other traps very quickly, we can of course showcase the aspects of the game. Oh, I apologize. I am currently using a debug script that allows me to press the numbers on my keypad to switch player. As currently there are some bugs with that, as you may have noticed the player was just walking in a straight direction when I did switch back. However, it's not really much of a problem because the feature won't be in the final thing anyway. If I were to press E, you can see we shoot projectiles, which shows that. There are some aspects that I do need to go over. For instance, you may have just noticed that the player for some reason respawned back here instead of at checkpoint, which with more testing I can figure out the fix to it. And if we were to go over here, we can showcase the other trap. This will cause a cage and will then spawn an explosion attacking the player, of which they will then respawn back to their spot. Other things that I will likely be working on is getting the death player to have an increased stamina so that the players cannot just run away. But if I were to showcase this, switch over to this player. As you just noticed, the player is no longer respawning. That is because they have 3 lives. And if, for example, I were to press the one in the middle would stay as shown here. And if I were to press the left one would go, and the player would fall. This area here is moddable so that I can change it to the one you press goes away. However, I think for now it would just be better for me to keep it as a one you press stays option. Now, to quickly showcase the other things, I'll go over them quickly. We have the Soul Blades, which when you press the button causes an animation where this will launch forward, and then after a certain amount of time would launch back. This one here is a hidden tricky platform. Players won't notice anything about it and will then basically cause them to fall. You have trampolines, which as currently they don't do anything, but the plan would be that the trampolines would increase your bounce, and if the button is pressed, that will be increased higher, causing you to hit spikes above. Now we have the hidden spikes that once you press the button causes them to reach up, and we have the traditional spikes that will just be an obstacle. And then when the player reaches the end, they can press the button, which will go ahead and summon a kill volume across death and kill them. And that is the game mode. This has been a interesting development for me because I haven't really worked on creating game modes before, and I think that this project helped greatly in allowing me to spread my creativity a bit more. As the previous project, I did a platformer, which is a aspect of a game that I tend to always work on, and I feel that this allowed me to be able to create a fun game mode. And Jacob, of course, being my teammate, is working on the timeout game mode, which, as of currently, I believe they have been working on a few extra things for the puzzles, which I will let them go over in their videos. Anyway, as is the case, that would be the end of this video. And I will, of course, be showcasing my blueprints and such in a later post, and I will ensure that I comment on every single one that I've made and showcase them. Anyway.